Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I'm really excited this week to start diving in to the topics that I covered inside my best-selling book, Business Fundamentals. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the book behind me. This book is available on Amazon. It was a bestseller in one of the business categories, which is actually meant to be really tough to manage. But I'm going to tell you a secret. The way to do it is actually easier than you think. It's just about marketing and getting everybody to buy it on the same day when you launch, and you can get that bestseller status. You don't have to have loads and loads of people buy it. It'll be really surprising. Apparently you can have 10 people you know buy it and you can reach bestseller status. I didn't know that. But I just thought I'd share that just to start off with. So Business Fundamentals is a book that walks you through putting in place the operations to build the foundations for a successful business. And I decided from this week and from this episode to go through the 10 chapters of the book and share them with you as a listener. Now, this is going to get really interesting because I have had quite a journey since I wrote this book. So it'll be really interesting to see what comes up. So I'm literally going to do a read through. So you're literally getting it for free. But if you do want a copy in person, because there are things that I give you to do. My photographer says that she's reading it and it's taken her a while to read it because she's like, I want to make sure I stop and implement everything that you're telling us to do, which I love. So there is that part of it. So I definitely recommend getting a copy. It's not overly expensive. It's the best thing you can do if you want to get some value from me to help you within your business. Okay, let's dive right in. So we're starting at chapter 1, which is the entrepreneurial mind. And the first topic I cover is growth and self-employed mindset, which is massively important when it comes to running a business, like for obvious reasons. And in my belief is that there's a huge gap in the education system. We are taught where to go if we break a leg. We are taught equations and we are taught hygiene. But the things that we do need all that, but the things we really need, the things we should have available to us, and the things that make the greatest difference, we are never given. Personal development and understanding money and self-sufficiency could change the world. That is my opinion. Instead, we have lost souls dabbling drugs through mental breakdowns, we've got families in debt, and we have a mass of world issues. And that is not where I choose to focus though, and you shouldn't either. Just because the real stuff we see happens doesn't mean that we should fixate on it, although we can want to do something about it as well. And just because the real stuff we need isn't readily available, it doesn't mean we cannot find it. When you start a business, especially after being employed at work, the mindset needs to be completely different. You have to be self-led and take action because no manager, there's no boss, is going to tell you what to do. And it took me a lot of time to realise this. Even though my employed working life was only around 10 years, as I worked from the age of 16, fell pregnant at 19, had the baby, went back to work and then started a business. That's what happened for me. 6 years it took for me to make consistent money. And I mean getting paid regularly and consistently, enough to come off the benefits we were on. And there are 2 factors that caused the situation to change. First one was mindset and the second one was strategy. Because what you do in business and the success you have, or with anything in your life, is 80% mindset and 20% action. But let's not avoid the facts that you can do all the airy-fairy manifestation inner work in the world, but unless you get off your butt and do something, then nothing is going to happen. And this is spoken from experience as that 21-year-old first-time mum starting a business and being lazy in the action-taking department. It had to change. So I had been organised in particular aspects of my life, and I'm not sure where it began really. Organising my craft draws age 9, organising the poker tournaments at work age 18, who knows? What I do know now though is that if a problem arises, I literally plan my way out of it. And that's what I'm going to guide you to do. If you're in a place where you're not taking action, I want you to ask yourself who is responsible for the success of your business. Start there and hold on to that answer for a moment. It is not your clients, it's not anything external, it is you. So it's time to step up and get your mindset into that of an entrepreneur. And what do entrepreneurs do? They make money. So let's organise your mindset for success. The way that I organise my mindset is by having a daily morning routine. If this work is new to you, I recommend trying everything and throwing everything at it. And here are some things that you could try. Journaling, meditation, EFT, which is emotional freedom tapping, hypnotherapy, counselling, coaching on life and business, affirmations, motivational talks and podcasts, or other therapies. My best advice around mindset is to be open, as this will pave the way for so much growth. I want to support you to evolve with your new self-employed situation and how different it is from being employed. In some instances, you have a similar narrative in that you do need to show up daily, you do need to actively work, and you cannot just call in sick at the sound of a cough. This is where most aspiring entrepreneurs fail to show up as a business owner in the daily action that will move you forward. It's too easy to adopt a mindset of, I can just do it later. So let's start there. Although running a business is different, you do need to show up every day and treat it like a non-negotiable job. That if you don't show up for, you won't get paid from, because this is in fact true, as you won't get paid if you're not doing the daily action that you need to. So sit with this as a way to adapt your mindset. How is running a business similar to having an employed job? How do you need to show up daily? Why it is important to your business that you are actively working on the business? And why is it important to not create excuses why you cannot do the work today? If you ever find yourself stuck in a situation where you are not taking action and you're not sure why, come back to these questions and reflect. At the same time, running a business and becoming self-employed is the complete opposite of having an employed job. The upside is that you can totally be flexible, working when you want, so that if you're a mum, you can attend the school class assemblies, but that flexibility comes with too much freedom and lack of action if you are not prepared and don't have a plan. This is now the responsibility for everything. And this is where self-employed mindset really has to be worked at, as you need to recognise that you now hold the responsibility for everything within your business. Until you build a team and you can outsource, you are the boss. You become the marketer, the manager, the social media creator and manager, the photographer, the personal brand, the web designer, the tech team, the bookkeeper, and so much more. It is powerful in recognising this and having the mindset that you are going to have to work more in the beginning and become all of those people to get the results to enable you to grow. And it's a lot to manage and it's a lot to master, but with the right resilient mindset, you can apply yourself to it. I've got some more questions for you. Sit with these and answer honestly to break any cycles that may hold you back. How is running a business the opposite of having an employed job? Who do you need to become to create success with this business? What behaviours do you need to let go of? And what excuses are you making? I couldn't write a section on the self-employed mindset without talking about excuses, because it was a pivotal shift for myself in my own business over the years. And all the time I hear from business owners the same common excuses that they claim as reasons for not moving forward. I don't have time. I can't afford it. I don't know how. I find it too hard. Mix those thoughts with fear, limiting beliefs, self-doubt, and a whole life of conditioned stories, and you are facing nothing but brick walls on your path. What if you can overcome those blocks by simply climbing over the walls or building a door and walking through? This is the perspective that you need to adopt to positively progress. Time, it's relative. How you spend it is about choice and priority. For example, I don't have time to exercise in the evening, but I spend 2 hours watching the latest Netflix series. I'm not saying don't watch TV. We all deserve downtime. But what I am saying is it's about choice and priority. You have to open your mind to the possibility of creating the time to make that happen. This is a real life situation, and I was using time as an excuse to hold me back from improving my health. So what did I do? I started going to bed earlier, so I had only 1 hour of TV in the evening, and I started getting up earlier and using that extra hour of my day to exercise. I did it then, so it was done first thing, and I couldn't use other excuses to get in the way of making it happen throughout the day. The second thing, affordability. It is one in the same. Absolutely, some people are in the most challenging of situations with money, no doubt about it. However, if you are buying that £30 weekly family takeaway, then can you really afford not to do the thing that will move your business forward and offer you the resources or the skills? Again, a real life example. I used to believe that I couldn't afford a lot of things, but the reality is saving that £30 per week is not only good for my health, but also it has a bigger return on investment if I save up and buy the tech that I need, work with the mentor that I know can help me, and climb over that wall to not allow money to become an issue. It's about recognising what you need against what you don't. I don't need to take away every week. It is nice to, and I haven't eliminated them completely, because just like watching TV, you deserve a treat. You deserve to enjoy life. But the fact is, what I have needed in the past was to upskill, to grow, and to make progress. And I had to make the decision to prioritise that. And then finally, not knowing how. You can learn how. Yes, it will take time. If time is coming up for you around this, then read back this whole section of the book, or listen back to this whole section and let that sink in. It doesn't have to always cost money either. The beautiful thing about the internet these days is that you can learn almost anything at the click of a few buttons. Google and YouTube are amazing tools. And I even have a whole range of videos on my own YouTube channel that are accessible with hours and hours of content for free, with tips that are sure to lay down the foundations to get you the results. I know this because many times I have people make money without ever investing in me and just attending my live free trainings. This leaves you believing sometimes, the investment piece, it leaves you believing it's too hard, or not knowing how leaves you believing it's too hard. And I'm here to question that belief. More so because I had that when I was battling the tech years ago. I felt so out of my depth, yet here I am doing it. If it was too hard, then how have so many people succeeded? It's not impossible, and going back to not knowing the how, you can learn. The mindset work is ongoing, and I always work on it because it's too easy to fall back into old patterns of thinking. When I first set up my business, I had set big goals to leave my job, and the money wasn't coming in, so I couldn't make it happen. I actually needed to take action because sitting around watching TV or scrolling unintentionally on social media wasn't going to bring in the sales. I was in the negative mindset that it was never going to work out. Nobody wanted to buy from me and I should give up. I battled these thoughts for years. I couldn't actually see that I needed to ask for the sale, that there were opportunities available to be visible. And one day, I needed to wake up and just decide that this year was going to be the year that things changed. It was in 2020, and at that time, I actually had all the excuses not to succeed. When the pandemic hit, my husband's health got worse, which heightened my anxiety. We had a 1-year-old and one of 3 kids. We had a 1-year-old and one of 3 kids being autistic, school refusals, all that. And I was working part-time, juggling employment, business and family. And I had every excuse not to keep going, not to work on my business, not to do the daily actions that would move me forward. But instead, I chose to work on it. And in one of the toughest years financially for businesses, my first business skyrocketed. And then I set up as a business mentor and coach. I decided not to build a business where circumstances were good. I decided to show up regardless, and that's the difference in the mindset of the person who succeeds. It's showing up when the circumstances are not great. So give anything a go to improve your mindset, and I'm going to help you take what you need and organise it into your life as a non-negotiable, because that's exactly what it is if you want your business and life to succeed, be a success story. That's exactly what you need. It starts with your own inner thoughts and telling you what they're telling you and your beliefs deep down. Which brings me into money mindset. Money, I've touched upon already. It's interesting. It holds so much power. Yeah, it's just something that has the energy of exchange. It's not something we keep or should intend to, because its existence is to be exchanged. The purpose of it is to trade, yet so many of us feel negative when we let it go. We feel so many emotions around not having enough, and then manifest more of it flowing away from us. This money story can change, and when I discovered this, it was like a magic secret that I could play around with. Whether you believe in the laws of the universe and manifestation, there's no denying where focus goes, energy flows. Science proves that if you choose to think about something, you're more likely to discover it in your reality. It's often the thing that we search for already exists in reality. It's just that we are mindful of it. It's exactly the same with money. This is why the mindset around money and sales needs to change if you desire more of it. Discovering my money story was a huge eye-opener. Seeing how particular events had stored negative energy within me and instilled unwanted thought patterns that affected my reality was mind-blowing. Think about your experiences with money growing up, stories you absorbed by the media, things your parents said, friends said. It all contributes to your reality with money right now. When I was 18 at a party, my uncle said in front of our entire family that I would be jobless, on benefits and with 3 children. At the time, these words angered me. They made me feel embarrassed and humiliated. What I failed to notice then, that was my subconscious, was hold on to those words. So my life played out exactly as he had said, right? That's exactly what I created in my reality. So by the age of 26, I had 3 children, and myself and my family were on benefits. I had allowed that narrative to impact my reality so much, and an interesting thing happened. Once I was aware of the mindset and feelings around this story, I was able to change it. I started working on my belief to succeed with my business, and I started working on my money mindset on a daily basis, letting go of those feelings of shame and judgment. And within months, I was earning enough money to come off of benefits. I shifted my focus intentionally and manifested the new circumstances into my reality as a result. Of course, succeeding took action. It definitely took action to strategically work on my business, but it wasn't without the mindset behind it. Whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're always right. So whether you believe that money will flow to you or not, you will have a connection with mind and reality. Learn more about this. Embody the energy of having money. See what happens. It's easier said than done, I know, but the matter of fact is that this work is effective, and that's why I'm going to help you organise your money mindset routine. Money mindset is often lacking based on stories that as you grow up, you consume. Everything you consume leads to your thought patterns and belief, of which both then lead to your actions. So if your thought patterns are that money doesn't grow on trees, then your belief becomes that money isn't easily accessible to you, which can result in the action of desperation. In many cases, this could present itself as putting your services on sale at a lower price than you would like to be paid, because of the money story that you cannot access it easily. Similar to the belief that you have to work hard to play hard, resulting in creating hustle to enable you to achieve the lovely things that you want. I know of many people who work hard daily to pay for their all-inclusive holidays, to spend a week living in luxury, only to be back to the daily grind again after 7 days, but with a bigger laundry pile to shift through. Think about many of the thought patterns that show up for you when it comes to money and how they become beliefs. and transmit them into the actions that you take. Recognise the thoughts you have around money. Recognise the beliefs you have formed around money. Recognise the actions you take with your relationship with money. And reflect on how you can change the thoughts, the beliefs and the behaviours in future. Because the thoughts shape the beliefs and the beliefs shape the action. Which leads me into belief, fear and failure. Mindset is such a huge factor in the way you succeed, and the majority of it, most of us feel the same inside. Have you ever felt unqualified or not good enough? Imposter syndrome shows up and places you in freeze mode. You simply cannot sell the course you desire because then you have to actually deliver it and everyone will find out what a fraud you are. What if you challenged these thoughts and feelings and took the action? That's where your mind really steps into power because you're putting up a fight to succeed anyway. I have felt this way many times due to beliefs that I'm not good enough and fears around failing. So many fears around failing. Failure to help people, to deliver the service, to sell it to anyone, because what if I don't? I held on to the what if for so long that it became my reality. After experiencing being part of a mastermind, I quickly knew that it was exactly what I wanted to create, only to have the mindset monkeys convince me that nobody would buy my high ticket, longer contracted service because I had never offered something like this before. And my mind monkeys were right. I proved them right. I launched my first mastermind and I did sell it, but it was totally out of alignment and I wasn't profiting from it. The truth is, I felt such an imposter. Selling a mastermind all about sales and I wasn't profiting from it. And my business wasn't profitable. Hello, imposter syndrome. It took me time and a reality check to look at what I had achieved in sales so far. The successful product business I had, which sold out bookings a month in advance. Was that enough evidence that I actually did know what I was talking about when it came to selling? And many money mindset battles later, I stepped in to create an offer I fully aligned with. At the time, it's called Sustainable Sales, the Mastermind, and that was born. I launched it and I sold no spaces. Not one client enrolled. It's not that I didn't have interest, it's that I wasn't delivering a message of belief in what I had created. So deep down, I knew I had created something amazing, something that would really have benefited me on my journey in business. Yet I wasn't succeeding in selling it. At this point, most business owners give up. I see it often that the fear of failing again takes over the mind and it wins. But at this point, determination and passion took hold for me. And I was ready to change the story as it unfolded. I worked on my mindset around fear of failing and decoded a belief that it was to become my signature program. I even increased the price. I hired co-coaches and worked on my beliefs around charging more money. Part of this meant that I had to work on the belief that it would sell at this new price. I sought guidance from my mentor at the time, growing my mindset and taking action and strategy. With confidence behind it, I launched it again and I sold it. That launch was pivotal because it was a point where my business not only became profitable, but it was my first ever £8,000 launch, the highest I had ever achieved at that time, and a huge leap from my previous £3,000 total sales launch. Fear is something that I now play with, especially after that time in my life where I also jumped into a swimming pool even though that I'm afraid of drowning. It gave me the sense to continue to face the fears and do it anyway. The reality is that you never know if your beliefs, fears and doubts are true until you test it out and test and find out how you can prove them wrong. The best feeling is proving them wrong. Absolutely. I want to be transparent here though and share more insight to exactly why I was dealing with succeeding with an £8,000 launch and how mindset and fear can get the better of you and how I didn't allow it. I was launching in September, 6 months after my husband had a knee replacement and moving house. Life had been pretty busy leading up to this point, and then the start of the new school year presented huge challenges in the form of my son refusing school. He was excluded at least once per week, assaulting staff, having meltdowns every morning, running away from the school grounds, running over roads, and so much more behaviour that I was unprepared to handle. And at the time, he was awaiting autism assessments. Again, because he'd already gone through them once. So, after him being referred and through lack of evidence and no diagnosis previously, at this point I felt like my family circumstances were holding me back. How could a council estate mum of 3 with so many challenges at home succeed? And my mindset dipped again. I had to fight to keep my faith and dismiss the beliefs that I would always be on benefits and jumping one step forward but being dragged 2 steps back. It was a daily battle in many ways, but I showed up regardless, and this is where my resilience really came in. These challenges became my reason to succeed, so I could continue to work from home and be there for my family instead of being forced into an employed job, because let's face it, I don't like being told what to do, and no employer would excuse leaving work to collect your child because they were excluded again for abusing a teacher. It was what it was, and it was not perfect. But I dealt with it day by day, and I could have easily chosen these challenges to become my excuses. And saying, I don't have time because I spent 30 minutes longer at school chasing my son in an attempt to get him into school. I can't do my work because my head's a mess after school run. And this is exactly what's shown up for me, actually. I was unable to commit to the work, but I just decided that it had to change. Or thinking it will never work out because I will always be interrupted. Those were my exact thoughts, but I chose resilience. I changed the narrative and I ploughed through anyway. The point here is to look at the challenges you're facing and eliminate the thought patterns that are excuses. Eliminate those beliefs that tell you that you can't. Eliminate the focus of anything other than a vision of you succeeding. I want your story to be the one of winning, thriving through adversity. Because it gets to be easy as much as it gets to be hard, all at the same time. Recognising your beliefs and having awareness is the first step. And from then on, it's about actively working towards changing them. It does take consistent practice. There are literally 3 steps to working through them. Recognise, reflect, realign. This method means to recognise what your beliefs are, and this could be around money, it could be around success, around failure, or any other particular area that you feel your mind needs to work on right now. Once you've recognised your thought patterns and the beliefs that are within you, it's about going deeper into where they actually came from in the first place. You cannot undo something that is instilled in you if you cannot recognise where the thoughts came from, or even if they are your thoughts. Sometimes there might be other people's thoughts planted in your mind. So take the example of my uncle embarrassing me in front of my family. It instilled the belief that I wouldn't be worth more than living on a government-funded benefits. Once I discovered this, it meant that I could then realign with exactly what I wanted to achieve. From there, I worked on my new belief that being on benefits, having multiple children, and being in the situation that I was, is actually okay. This system was set up to provide for you for a reason. At the same time as having the ability to recognise that I wanted so much more than that, and that working on the belief that I can actually have it. And I want to take you in to some practical actions now to get you into the entrepreneur mindset. When I found myself with a need to work on my mindset, the very first thing I started to do was create space for myself before anything else in my day. I used to get out of bed when my kids woke up and end up falling into a day-to-day pattern of being mum, working, cleaning, and then the non-negotiables. But I wasn't putting my inner work first. I actually had no awareness that it was something I needed to do. And then when I discovered this inside a book, I started to get up earlier each day and I began a morning routine. Disclaimer though, it doesn't have to be a morning routine, and it doesn't have to be a routine. As long as you're putting into practice something to work on your mind, like you would your body with exercise, then that's okay. So one of the things that has helped me on this entrepreneurial journey is journaling. And so I invite you to grab your notebook and pen and use these journal prompts for your mindset around these areas. And this is where I add in something new, something that I would say now, since when I first wrote this book. Journaling doesn't have to be writing on paper. It can be grab a business bestie and go and have a chat with them, answering these questions for each other to help each other with this practical action and your mindset. Okay? It can be in whatever way you need to work through it. Let's dig into the questions. First of all, entrepreneurship. How are you being self-led as a business owner? How are you showing up daily and taking action? And what excuses are you making that are holding you back in building your business? And hint, often the excuses that you have are that you don't have enough time, enough money, or enough know-how to achieve what you want. And then finally, when it comes to entrepreneurship, where do you need to prioritise for your business to grow? Next up, we've got the money questions. How do you feel about money right now? What are the stories around money in your past? And what do you want your money story to be? What do you believe about people who have a lot of money? And then ask yourself, is this true? Often, the beliefs around those with big money being rich bitches or snobs crop up as the media portrays women with money this way. And one of my favourite books, Get Rich, Lucky Bitch by Dani Thomas, opened my eyes wide to this. Next up, some questions on limiting beliefs and fear. Recognise what beliefs are limiting you right now and what fears are showing up. Reflect, where did these beliefs come from? Realign, what is the new belief that you want to adopt? And if things don't work out, what's the worst that could happen? This was a really powerful question for me, because in the worst case scenario that I don't earn enough and I go back onto benefits temporarily, that's okay. Sometimes you just need to release judgment around that. What are the beliefs and feelings around selling that you have? And what are the reasons to succeed regardless of the limiting beliefs and fears? Sit with those questions, and then when you've done that inner work and thought deeper around some of those mindset challenges that many business owners face, it's time to prepare your mindset routine. You may have heard this recommended before or even tried it before, but did you stick to it for 3 weeks or more? It takes 3 weeks to form a habit, and only then will you really reap the benefits. And I have to admit, I have been up and down inconsistency with my morning mindset routine, but I really do believe in it, and I know that my productivity and energy increases when I do it. So I'd love you to begin with a brainstorm. Map out the things that you would like to include in your mindset routine. My example includes dancing for 5 minutes to music, 10 minutes saying affirmations, 5 minutes doing an EFT money mindset, and journaling my thoughts and goals. When you implement your mindset routine, it doesn't have to be in the morning, it doesn't have to be at bedtime, it can be any time of the day that suits you best, and any order and any activities that work for you. So here are some recommended actions to take that will help you with your mind and your physical health that I have learned that have been a massive improvement. First up is hydrate before you caffeinate, so drink water before coffee. If possible, have coffee after eating. This will make a massive difference. I implemented this from the point of writing this book over a year ago, or 2 years ago. Definitely made a massive difference to my energy. Second one is move. Whether it's just a 5-minute stance, a 15-minute yoga, or 30-minute workout, including any kind of movement will shift energy and make you feel good as you release endorphins. Third one is breathe. So doing some breath work acts as a great mindful reset for your body. So allow your body to really take in oxygen. Connect. So when you have desires and goals, it's always great to remind yourself of what you're working hard for. So you could connect with visualization or writing your goal down. And writing your goal down on paper is 47% more likely to manifest, and then backing it by a plan is 80% more likely to manifest, which is why I want to help you with the strategy later on in further episodes from the book. Once you have your mindset routine mapped out, all you need to do is plan it into your diary, set an alarm, and implement it. Enjoy. That was the Entrepreneurial Mindset from the first chapter of my book. Highly recommend you go and actually fully read the whole chapter, take those questions and work with them, sit with them, feel into your intuition and what your next actions need to be. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and as always, reach out, let me know your thoughts, let me know your biggest takeaways from it, because I would love to see what you've gained and the results that you get for your business. Thanks for joining me. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, comment, do all the things that support creators like me to grow, and share it with anyone that also might find it useful. Until next time, have a great time working on your entrepreneurial mindset. Bye for now.